Unfortunately, here's how my day is starting off today. Solenoid and a screwdriver. Remember that, kids. Good morning. Welcome back to Tubby Chase Farm. I appreciate you watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and do so. I really appreciate it, and it helps the farm out. This vlog is going to be what a typical, and use typical in parentheses, day looks like on the farm. As you can see from the intro, the day is already not going to be very typical, considering I have a starter that is going out on my side-by-side. So I guess that's going to have to be a project here in the next couple of days. I generally start my mornings out up here or wherever the sheep and goats are. I just walk through them all, make sure they have water, make sure everybody's here, get a good look at them. I also do a walkthrough of the chickens. I water them at night, and I move the covers, so generally in the morning it's just to check on them. Don't have to do a lot. It is the 4-week mark for these chickens, the Freedom Rangers, so I do get weights on them today. Here's a close-up of the Freedom Rangers, 4 weeks old. You can tell missing a lot of feathers underneath, but the feathers up on top, a lot of the down is gone. They're starting to feather out. We'll put him in the bucket. .4 pounds. I do have chicks in the brooder. Last week I got 50 Cornish cross chicks. Those up in the field are Freedom Rangers, so we're going to get a good comparison of them. These will go up on pasture in 2 more weeks. Started with 50, I'm down to 37. Worst performance I've had. I lost all those in the first 24 hours. I could tell when I got them out of the box they weren't going to make it. I did have to use a different hatchery. I normally have used Freedom Ranger hatchery out of Pennsylvania, which is absolutely phenomenal. They were out of Cornish cross, so I had to try a different hatchery, and extremely disappointed so far. Last thing, and then it's time to grab a quick breakfast. Check on the cattle. Make sure everybody's here where they're supposed to be. I do get a little nervous, just a little bit. My fence is all right, but they are right up against the road here. It's the one road frontage of the farm. So if they get to where they're not supposed to be, unless they come on this side of the fence, they're generally out in the road. And I would like to say that's never happened, but that would be a bit of a lie. Now that the animal chores are all done, it's time to start working on some projects around the farm. I think today's going to be a bit of a mechanic day. Aside from the side-by-side that we saw just had a problem starting, this ATV has been sitting in the yard for a couple weeks now with what I am hoping is a broken drive belt. But considering the front tires are locked up and the back tires spin, I have a feeling it's something more than that. Right here's why you pull your equipment over to your tool shed to work on it. This right here, just to get this off, right here's what I've used at this point, including a cut-off tool. You should have taken a screwdriver. Here's the cover off. Unfortunately, The belt is in perfect shape, and when I got this off, here's what I found back here. This was laying on the inside. Obviously, that is a major problem, and probably beyond me. Well, this takes us to about lunchtime. This is one of those days I'm not really sure what I've really accomplished so far. But we'll get back after it again after lunch. Today I've been working on this little project. I've been working on it for a day, but I've got the parts I need. Is to convert this sprayer. This was the tank that was on it, and it's a sprayer that's been here on the farm for probably about 25 years. It hooks up to the 3-point hitch here and here. I've unhooked the various hoses. I thought it would be perfect to haul water up to the sheep and goat flock. Before I could haul 5 gallons of water, that would last them for a few days. But now that I'm upwards of 28 and progressively getting more, I need to have a larger water system. So this would be perfect to do that, but I filled up the tank that was on it, and right here on the side I had a track from here to here. I did try to weld it. If you've seen a previous video, I did show where I can plastic weld stock tanks and get a couple of extra years of life out of them. But the plastic on this tank was very thin, and the heat gun would simply melt through it. What I found that in my barn, I had a 55-gallon drum, plastic drum, with no holes. Everything's good. I've rinsed it out, but I need to put a connector here that would hook to a garden hose. This will be the top part. That's where I would fill it from. I also had to get some larger screws to fill it, to be able to bolt it in. Let's see if it will hold water. Alright, have a leak. Let me try to put some tape on this and see if that helps. It looks like the tape worked. Got no more leaks coming on. It also probably helped that I got it lined up better. I'm now full up here. I'm going to need the tractor to move the water wagon with the cattle. So let's go ahead and see how this works for the sheep. At this point it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and getting to be the hardest part of the day. It's interesting, the goats and the sheep are laying up here in the middle of the sun. They do have access to all kinds of shade, so I guess they like it. Okay, well, I was hoping the flow of water would be better than that. I think it has to do with this valve I have on here is really restricting the water down. So I'll probably make a change to that. I went ahead and changed that valve out. I removed this one, which I like because I can turn it off, and I put another one that I had on. Again, why farmers don't throw anything away. You can see the water flow much better. I did about 6 days out of my water wagon here with the cattle. They've been there 6 days, so as I move the paddocks here and I move them, I'm going to go ahead and refill the wagon and then get it reset up for the next 6 days that they'll be in this field. cattle are all up here close, so I'm gonna go ahead and move them here into this next paddock. At this point in their lives, they pretty much know the deal. Some of these guys, like that one right there, they've been here for almost 2 years. It's already pushing a little bit after 5, about 5:15. It's amazing how fast the day goes. Some of these projects, like doing the water wagon, get the water filled up, takes a bit of time. You gotta drive down, hook it up, drive up to the pond, fill it up, drive back down. Last thing I usually do, and this is a little early, but I want to get it done today, is I move the chickens for the night. I have ran my water hose from the barn up here, and I'll continue to move it up the hill, so it makes it pretty easy to water. I also move my covers usually in the evening. So on this move, I'll move all those feeders up towards the end of the paddock, and then I'll move the covers up, probably up to where the feeders were, probably a little bit higher. They probably have about 2 more days in here, 2 or 3. They'll move up to here and then over to that side. And then I'll move my whole paddock up even further, where they'll spend another week or so. I also top off their feed at this point. At this point, they're set up for the night. As I said, when the sun goes down, these chickens will start foraging all through here, especially since now up at this end, there'll be a lot more bud load for them. You can already see these. They're in the shade. If you can see them, they're already starting to chase the bugs that were up here in this grass they hadn't been in yet. As always, I greatly appreciate you following along on my farm journey. You can find out more about us at the website www.coveychasefarm.com. Everyone, have a great week.